Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be showing you how I make logo art for my Roblox games. If you are new here, don't forget to drop a subscribe, like below, and also comment down future video suggestions. We also have a Discord server, so don't forget to join that. Link will be in the description below. So I am in Photoshop, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to press Create New. So what this will do is it's going to create a new image. So now for the settings, so I'm just going to choose custom. Then I'm going to set the width and the height to I just keep it wherever it is at. And I always change my background to transparent. And so yeah, make sure it's on transparent. Now that should be all good. Now let's just press create. So we're brought up with this just a white transparent image. So the first thing I usually do is I start up with using the text tool. So for this case, I'm going to be making a VC battle game. So for the first text, we're going to put VC. And I like to have my first text like a color, and then my bottom text is usually like a shade. So I'm just going to center it off. And then I like bubblegum font, but I don't really have it here. So I'm going to be using I think that font, yeah, this font's going to be pretty good. So I'll also be sure to link this font in the description below. So now I'm going to add the battles text on the bottom. I always use caps, I just feel like it looks better. So I'm just going to center that. I think this is pretty good. And at the top here there's a, so I'm just going to change the font just because I like two different fonts. I'll link this one in the description too. So now at the top of my screen, I'm just gonna add like an arc. So there's like different like styles you can have on your text. So I'm gonna add an arc. As you can see, this is way too much of an arc. So I'm just gonna adjust the arc a little bit down. Something like this is pretty good. I usually like to have mine like a little downwards like that. And I think that looks pretty good. So I'm just gonna center it off a little bit. Alright, that should be good. So now I'm gonna change the text to like a shade. And let me just adjust the size here first. Just want the VC part to pop out a little bit better. So now I'm gonna add a little shade here. I like gray a lot. Now for making the text 3D, so what I usually do is I would like duplicate the layer. So now there's two VC texts. Now I changed the back layer to a little bit of a darker color. So it's just a little bit darker. Then I make sure the layer's underneath, and then I just drag it a little bit out. Might need to be a little bit darker there. As you can see, it kind of has a little bit of like a 3D effect. So I'm just going to adjust it till I like it the way it looks. And I think that would do pretty good for me. Just going to adjust the size a little bit. So once you have it to the size that you like and you're okay with it, now the edges are going to be a little bit choppy, as you can see. So we're going to use a pen tool to fix up those edges. So to zoom in, just press Control and plus, and Control minus will zoom out. So now I'm just changing my brush so it's not on the peanut tool. So I'm setting the color to the same as the color on the bottom layer of VC. so the darker color. You can also use your eyedropper tool to get the same color. So now that I have the same color, we're going to start filling in. I also use shapes, so pen tool and shapes. The shapes like circles really help around the curved parts. So make sure you select a blank layer. You can create a new layer with the plus at the bottom. And just I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So as you can see, just click and add your waypoints, and it will fill in gaps. You couldn't really see it there, but so here you should be able to see it a little bit better. So as you can see, when I click right here, it fills in, so it makes it look a lot better. So basically I just do this for all the letters. So I'm just going to do this for every edge. So I'll see you when I'm done fixing it up. Okay, so now that I have fixed up the letters, we are ready to use the next thing that I like to put that really make the words pop out a lot. And I like to put this like outer glow. So how we are going to get the outer glow is we are going to right click on the layer. So make sure you select the back layer, not that top layer but the back one. So select the back one, then you're going to right click on the layer, and it'll bring up blending options. So under blending options, just choose outer glow. So as you can see, it gives a nice little black glow on it. Now I'm just going to adjust the size a little bit. And you can use white, but I think after experimenting with mine, I think I'd rather use black. So I'm just going to change it back to black. And that should be good. Now it still looks quite like away from the end project. So I want to fill in spots like that with more black. So I'm just going to use my shapes tool to draw some black shapes in there. So just drag, click and drag with the ellipse tool. As you can see, it's on top. So I would just bring it underneath, and as you can see, it's fixed. So I'm just going to do this a few times, and I'm just going to make it so all the letters have a black in between them. And yeah, so I'll be back with you when I'm done putting black around the letters. So now that I got the black around the letters, it's time for us to work on the battles text. So for the battles text, I basically do the exact same thing that I did for the VC part. So I'm just gonna speed through this part, and you could pause if you need to, like find parts that you're stuck on. And yeah, also don't forget to join my Discord server. We're really willing to help you out, and yeah, it's a really great place to ask for help and stuff. Okay, so just fixing up this one more edge. So now that I'm done with the, well, I'm almost done. So I'm just fixing this last T. Okay, so now that I am on the website. I'm just going to get a microphone image, and I'm using a microphone just because it suits my logo pretty well, as it is like a call game. So just going to download this image. It is royalty free, so it means that I am legal to use it. So now we're going to insert this into Photoshop. So we're just going to open up our files, and then as you can see under downloads, there's the microphone. So I'm just going to drag that into my Photoshop, and as you can see, there's the microphone. Now the microphone doesn't have like a transparent background, which isn't good for our image. So what we're gonna have to do with the microphone is we're gonna have to open it into a separate image. So if we go in the corner, we click on open, and if we go into our downloads, as you can see, there's the microphone. So we can just switch between our tabs at the top there, as you can see. So I'm just going to unlock that layer, that way we can edit it. I'm going to use my quick selection tool, and that will just select the area. So just press backspace, and backspace should delete all that white around the microphone. As you can see, it deleted it. So I'm just going to do this for each edge. So now that our microphone is all transparent, so we're ready to bring it into our other image. So I just convert it to a smart object. I'm just going to drag the image into our other one, and there it is. So you could use Control T to scale it. So I'm just going to make sure that this is underneath all my other layers, so it's on top of the text. Now once you get on top of all the layers, I'm just going to put it into the spot I want it. So now that I got into a spot that I like it in, I'm just going to duplicate it. Then using Control T, I'm going to rotate it with the transformation tools. So I think this is quite a good spot. But as you can see underneath, there's a little bit of the microphone. So if we just select the microphone layer, so make sure you're on the microphone layer, and it's going to ask you to retterize the layer, so just press OK. So make sure you're selecting that layer, and then press OK to retterize it, and then just erase the layer. Make sure your flow is at 100% and your occupancy is at 100%. And as you can see, the microphone is deleted on the bottom, and that looks pretty good. So I'm just gonna do it for the other side too, and that should do. So now I gotta add an outer glow to the microphones of the blending options. Now I'm just gonna put a little bit of white around it, so that will make the microphones pop out a little bit. So let me just put that, it's just the size. I don't want it as big as the black one, as big as the black like outer glow. So I'm just gonna apply it to my other microphone as well. Just gonna change the size back to 4. And that should be good. Let's make sure that both are 4, and yep, they are. So now that I got both my microphones to have a little white outline, I have to put a black outline around the whole object. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to convert it to a smart object. That would make everything into one object, and then I'll add, with the blending options, a whole nother black layer around the white layer. And I'm going to make it so it's close to the same size as the letters. And this should be pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill in the gaps between the mic and the letters with like more black. That way it kind of looks like it's all one piece, and it gives it like a really good effect to make the letters pop out. So I'm just using the Eclipse tool, make sure it's black, and I'm just filling in these little gaps. So I'm just creating little circles by clicking and dragging. And as you can see, the circles are on top, so just remember to drag it to the bottom and it will go underneath all the other layers. So yeah, once you are good with the way it looks, you are ready for the next step. So now I'm just going to add a little bit of like design to the actual text. So on the top text layer, I'm just going to put a bunch of rectangles. It's going to be like a candy cane effect. So I'm just going to duplicate a bunch of rectangles, and I'm just going to make them so they're all parallel to each other and they're on like an angle. So once all the rectangles are laid out, we gotta group them. So select the top one, hold shift, and then select the bottom one, and it'll select all of them. And then you group it into one rectangle. And then we need this to be on top of the text layer. And if we hold Alt click in between both layers, it will put like the rectangles into the text. So I'm just going to adjust it a little bit, make sure it's adjusted. You can always adjust it once it's like in the text. So that should be pretty good. Now I'm going to hold Alt and click in between, and as you can see, it like put it inside of the text. So now it's time for us to adjust the color. So if we just click on the rectangles and we can choose the color from here. Now I need mine like a little bit more similar to the text color, so I'm just gonna choose a color that's like similar. And once you're done changing your color, we could start working on the battles text. So now that I'm done with the VC text on the top, it's time to do it for the battle text. So I'm just gonna duplicate the shapes from the VC layer, and I'm just gonna put them into the battle text layer. So I'm gonna hold Alt in between the rectangles and the battles text. So now it's in the battles text. Now I'm just gonna duplicate it. I'm gonna do Control T, and I'm just gonna drag it a bunch of times so that my battles text has the rectangles all over it. Now that I'm done with the like effects on all the letters, you can like use a lot of blending options on all the text layers. So like inner glows, inner shadows, just do like what you see like looks best on your text. And yeah, there's lots of settings you can mess around with. So I'm just gonna mess around with some of these settings till I like the way they look. And once you're done with that, you're ready to polish your image. So I would say I'm pretty happy with the effects on these letters. So I would say I'm like pretty much done. So I'm just gonna do this one last little effect. So I'm just checking, and yep, that will be pretty good. So I'm just gonna apply this effect. So now that I'm done, we are just going to polish the image. Now make sure you save this as a PSD file in case you ever want to edit it in the future. That way you have access to all the layers and stuff. Because once you polish the image, there's no more layers. You don't have access to all the layers. It's all one layer. So I'm just going to save this as a PSD. and then after that we are ready to polish it. Selecting all the layers by hitting the top layer and then shift, while holding shift clicking on the bottom layer, and I'm just going to convert all that into a smart object. Then using blending options on that new object, I'm going to use an outer glow, and I'm just going to make this glow a light color, so like a white, and then I'm going to make that white a little bit smaller in size. Now you can't really see the white outline at the moment, but once we add a background, so I'm just gonna add a background right now. So using the shape tool and dragging it across the whole image. So there's the final look. So thanks for watching. I hope this tutorial helped you. I hope that you created some nice logos. Please be sure to join our server, send some of your logos in, and drop a sub, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.